Personal finance expert and MeVest founder Lesley-Anne Scorgie joins us on Canada Now. And Lesley-Anne, your latest article in The Star discusses techniques on beating the blues that we normally feel around this time of year, and of course, because of the pandemic.
Right. And I just want to first off say you're not alone if you're feeling the blues. There's statistics that show this week is actually the bluest week from a mental health perspective of the entire year. So maybe you've got a credit card balance that is looming. Maybe you put on a few extra pounds of shortbread cookies from the holidays. The weather's getting cold. There's many reasons. And then you have the pandemic. So it's no wonder feelings of lowness are very prevalent, at home and in your virtual workplace.
We're on Zoom, and I could tell that cookie comment was directed fully at me. Okay?
Oh, no, it's directed at me. There's definitely a few on my end.
Yeah, well, I can attest to that on my end. That's for sure. So you have 4 techniques to beat the blues and feel financially stronger. And first, take what we've learned in managing our day-to-day finances in 2020 and into this year. Remember all the conversations that have been heard between myself and Lesley-Anne Scorgie on Canada Now, and bring all that information into 2021.
You got it. Whether you liked it or not, frugality kind of got forced upon you and everyone during the pandemic. That frugality has actually served us. So data shows that most Canadian households have figured it out by now. They have figured out how to reduce unnecessary expenses, prioritize savings for a rainy day. These skills are excellent. They're life skills. And we also know that people spent a lot of time shoring up their emergency cushions. And my goodness, is that ever a powerful thing to have going for you going into 2021? So my first tip, whether you're coming off of the government benefits or whether you remained employed, keep up with this frugality, because the economy hasn't yet fully, swung back into full gear yet. So we want to be frugal. We want to be cautious.
Secondly, you normally promote aggressive financial growth through the financial planning process at about this time, but the landscape has certainly changed.
It's so true. So you know me, like last year, I was sitting here telling you about how important it was for everybody to set aggressive financial goals for 2020. And then the pandemic happened and it all kind of went out the window. So it is okay this year to just keep any excess cash on hand in your emergency fund, and frankly, to not have a plan that's aggressive. It might just be a plan of steadiness going into 2021. And that is okay to have that plan of just kind of keeping steady and keeping afloat. So if you were in the fortunate position though, however, you didn't lose your job, your spouse didn't lose your job, if you have a spouse, I still think you would benefit from setting some financial goals, maybe around your RSP or paying down some debt. But really, the landscape has changed around aggressive financial planning. And this is the year where you get a pass. It is okay to just be steady. And if you are in a position where you've never made a plan before, I'd recommend taking this year as your year to learn how to make a financial plan. And it's going to serve you after this year.
Make the most of this time. Your third technique is to control what you can. I think we could take that beyond financial matters, that's for sure.
Well, and this technique is really rooted in positive money psychology. So we know when people try to, influence factors they have no ability to change, such as the direction of the economy, you have no ability to change that. It's going to cause you angst, and it will be hard on your mental health. So, take stock in what you can, control what you can, such as updating your account balances. You could be doing this on a monthly basis, keeping track of your net worth. You could work very hard to hit your performance goals at work and making sure that you're not slipping on performance. You can even proactively gather up your tax documents. That tax season is right around the corner. As the vaccines roll out, we know that the economy is going to well, there's hopefulness around the economy improving. But again, like it's kind of out of the hands of the individual. So try not to worry about it.
And your fourth technique just reminds us, like, don't spend as much time in front of a screen. There's a better way to use some of that time.
That's right. So again, in the space of positive money psychology, we look at factors that cause people to have angst and anxiety. And we know that screen time, and specifically comparing yourself to others, comparing what they have to what you have, is extremely bad for your mental health. And it also leads to overspending. So my suggestion here is, like, if you've been spending a little too much time on screen, and like I admit I have, right? Like during the pandemic, I was on my phone for social media, then I'd be on my screen for work, then I would be streaming shows at night. We saw like a real spike in how much screen time people were experiencing. So if I can make a suggestion, like that is directly linked to depression and anxiety. So take your foot off the gas, step away from the screen, and maybe do something productive. Like if you maybe had the opportunity to work a little bit more and earn a little bit more money, this would be a perfect opportunity for you to do that. And then, you could also invest this time in learning activities, even like allocating 20 minutes a week of this screen time to learning about personal finances, how to budget, or even like how to upgrade your own education. These are really positive, healthy ways to spend your time and not be like tied to the screen.
And when you get the financial wins that might come your way in 2021, maybe looking back at 2020, that is, celebrate them, recognize them.
Absolutely. And I got to say, if you made it through 2020 and you're okay financially, you got to celebrate that. And like every mini milestone that you make this year, take an opportunity to pat yourself on the back. I'm not talking about blowing the doors off of spending, right? Like going and buying yourself a new car. That's not what I'm talking about. But actually like taking a moment, and maybe you had a big accomplishment. Maybe you paid down some of your line of credit at a milestone factor. Maybe that's the day you order takeout. Remember to reward yourself. That is also linked to improved mental health.
I'm glad you always include that in the conversation. It's so on point, especially these days. Check out MeVest.ca. Personal finance expert, MeVest founder, Baby Hank's mom, Lesley-Anne Scorgie. Lesley-Anne, always a pleasure. We'll talk
Thanks,
again
Jeff.
in a week. I really appreciate it. Well, the Toronto Blue